Hey friends, what we have here is a Harbeth P3ESR 40th anniversary edition. It's got the special binding posts here, the plaque, beautiful, just stunning olive wood finish. What a great speaker. Now, I reviewed the original P3ESR, I don't know, 7-8 years ago. Now that model's still in production. It's about $2,200. The 40th anniversary is about $2,900. They both have the same 5-inch proprietary Harbeth driver, woofer, and a 1-inch metal dome tweeter, or actually 0.75-inch metal dome tweeter. Now, I love this speaker. Oh man. Now, I don't remember what the original sounds like. I could just tell you about what this one sounds like, which is just makes you want to listen more. Now, one of the things that I tried with this speaker that I've never actually done quite this way before is near field listening. But up to now, most, not all, but most of my near field listening has been done on my desktop. I'm about 3 feet away from the speakers. But there's a wall directly behind the speakers. So for this one, I tried putting the 40th anniversary guys on stands way out into the room. So they were about 4 feet from my listening position and maybe 7 or 8 feet from the wall behind them. So they are in free space, except for the floor, of course. But when you get that close to a pair of speakers and there's no other reflecting surfaces nearby, well, first thing you notice is the speakers disappear. That's amazing. I mean, that's a cliche that the speakers disappear. These speakers disappeared more than anything I've ever heard. Now, as a check, so to speak, that it wasn't just because I was listening in this new to me way of doing it, with very, near field without a wall, I brought out my KEF LS50s and put them in the same position on the same stands. And you know what? No, the KEFs didn't disappear quite as well. And I was surprised because they are point sources after all. But they sounded smaller, more constricted than the Harbeths do. So, I don't know. Now everybody talks about the Harbeth mid-range, and it definitely has something special going on in the mid-range. But there's also something special going on with the bass, because for one thing, it's a little speaker, and yet it makes pretty satisfying bass. No, it's not like a subwoofer bass. If you really want to hear that kind of stuff, you should add a subwoofer or get bigger speakers. But the bass is satisfying, and definition. What was I playing where I heard like the fingering, plucking on strings on some jazz recording. Like I've never heard it quite like that before. Wait, is it this record right here? Yeah, this one. This guy, this recording here. There it is. And I played this record for many years ago, and I rediscovered it in my collection. I've been playing it a lot, and the plucking, because it's a very bass-heavy recording. It usually sounds too thick and muddy, but not on these Harbeths. But it's the imaging in this near field. I'm moving back and forth between like 3 feet and 5 feet away from the speakers, and so really, actually, 4 feet is usually the sweet spot, but I'm still messing around with that. I used my first watt SIT3 as the amp most of the time for this review. So far, this is an in-progress report. The review is far from done. But I also used a Pass Labs XA25, and I also used my NAD C316 BEE, which is a grand total of, well, when it was new, $380, and the new V2 version of the NAD is $400. So I used it with a very, very affordable amplifier, and it was still, the Harbeths were still sounding awfully good with an affordable amp. But there's something magical about these speakers, and there was something magical about the standard P3ESRs that I reviewed so many years ago, and I will link to my original review. Which I think was for Inner Fidelity magazine or website. He was letting me do speaker reviews at that point, so I did these Harbeths, which actually one of the reasons he wanted me to do the review is because Tyle Hertzens, the editor of that website, guess what his desktop monitor speakers were? P3ESRs. So, and they do have, that's the thing, when you get really close to them, they have that near field thing that I was just, it's sort of headphone-like, because you're just hearing this immense amount of detail that when you're 6 feet, 8 feet away and you have more reflections, floor bounce, ceiling, walls, all that stuff interfering with the direct sound, you're losing information the further away you are, because the further away you are, the more reflections you're going to hear, and the lower the percentage of direct sound you're going to hear. So when you get really close, you're just hearing much more direct sound from the speaker. And the tweeter really surprised me. It's a metal dome tweeter, but it had, dare I say it, almost like electrostatic levels of transparency and detail. Really remarkable. I was not expecting that at all from these speakers, because they're kind of famous for being, they're beautiful, gorgeous, mid-range. I was playing Bill Callahan, and he's got this deep baritone voice, and man, these speakers just communicated that. Wow, it was so good. So anyway, I'm pretty excited, as you can tell, but this review is ways off, probably early January. And which reminds me, so we're nearing the end of the year, so everybody have a great new year, enjoy your holidays, hope you get great presents, and I'll see you soon. This is the Audiophiliac Daily Show, and it does come up daily, and if you like it, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, come back often, share these videos, do all that social media stuff, and if you're in that kind of mood, check out my Patreon site, which is www.patreon.com/audiophiliac. And I would appreciate it very much. Anyway, that is it for today. My name is Steve Guttenberg. See you real soon.